Greetings, I'm Cam Miller, and this is Team 64, a deep dive into the 1964 Cincinnati Reds, who were involved in one of the most thrilling pennant races in baseball history. Thank you for once again taking this journey with me as we episodically look back at this club 60 years later. This is Episode 3, Maloney, Koufax, and a no-hit win. Following the Reds' opening day loss, they traveled to San Diego for an exhibition game. Yes, that's right. They used to do those sorts of things back in the day. They played the Pacific Coast League Farm Club San Diego, and San Diego actually beat them 4-3. But the Reds then moved on to Los Angeles to start an 8-game road trip with LA, San Francisco, and Houston. As the players checked into the Sheraton West Hotel in Los Angeles, Jim O'Toole, who was pitching the opener of the series, took a cab straight from the airport to Dodger Stadium to scout the hitters and watch Sandy Koufax blank the Cardinals 4-0. He then returned to the hotel, which at the time the Reds provided 4 to a room. It was actually a suite, mind you. So Jim Maloney was giving Jim O'Toole a hard time because O'Toole ended up rooming with rookie pitchers, Jim Dixon and Billy McCool. And he decided to have a little fun with them. So the rookies had never had room service before in a hotel, and at the Sheraton Hotel in Los Angeles, they did. But Jim O'Toole didn't tell them that they had to pay for the room service. Order what you want, O'Toole says. Of course, when the bill comes, one of the rookies ordered 4 Cokes and 3 chicken sandwiches. It ended up being $5. So a good prank for the youngsters. But besides being a prankster, the rookies could have learned something from O'Toole in that first game against the Dodgers. He had a perfect game going into the 5th inning before Ron Fairley got a single on a ball back to the mound that bounced off O'Toole's glove as he reached for it. In the 8th inning, the Reds were up 5-2. O'Toole had just given up singles to Maury Wills and Willie Davis. So with 2 outs and a tying run coming to the plate in 6'7", 242-pound slugger Frank Howard, 3 straight balls, and then 2 straight swinging strikes, before reaching back and blowing a fastball past the Dodger star. Said O'Toole after the game, "When I walked off the field, I thought my arm was going to drop off." Knucksy came in for the 9th and shut the Dodgers down 1-2-3, preserving the 5-2 victory. The following night, the offense was the story, as the Reds won 7-3 with homers by Vada Pinson and Darren Johnson. And in the 3rd game, a series heavyweight match between Jim Maloney and Sandy Koufax. Now I'm going to read you a little bit of the Lou Smith article that appeared the following day in the paper following that Maloney-Koufax matchup. Lou Smith, in-car sports editor, Los Angeles. Big Frank Howard's 2-out single in the 9th inning here Saturday spoiled a pitching rarity, a 2-man no-hitter, as the Reds swept a 3-game series by again knocking off the world champion Dodgers. While Jim Maloney and Satoris stopped the slumping Dodgers with Howard's lone single, a grounder that Chico Cardenas knocked down on the outfield grass back of second base, Darren Johnson pumped a 3-run homer in the 4th off Sandy Koufax for a 3-0 victory. A pulled muscle in the small of his back prevented young Maloney from the pursuit of the goal of all pitchers, a no-hitter. The 23-year-old California fireballer had set the champions down without a semblance of a hit until he suffered the injury pitching to Willie Davis in the 6th inning. Although he managed to get Willie on a tap to second, he was in obvious pain pitching to Tommy Davis. After pitching coach Jim Turner went to the mound for a conference, Maloney finished the inning, getting Davis to fly out. But he gave up that point and turned over the assignment to Satoris. Making his 1964 debut, Satoris carried the no-hitter until Howard gave the Ladies' Night crowd of 41,247 its first chance to cheer with his spoiler single. What a matchup that was, and it meant a 3-game sweep against the defending world champion Dodgers. So on April 23rd, the Reds go to Houston, and knuckleballer Ken Johnson, again pitching for the Colt 45s, and he is just mesmerizing Reds hitters, a no-hitter. In the fantastic book Joe Nuxall, The Old Left-Hander and Me, by my friend John Kieswetter, Nuxall talks about the no-hit game, and I'm going to read you a passage from that book. Nuxall was on the mound in Houston on April 23, 1964, when Ken Johnson became the first pitcher ever to lose a no-hitter. 2 errors in the 9th inning doomed Johnson, including one of his own. I was listening to Wade Hoyt broadcast the game on radio with my dad in our basement as Johnson breezed through the Cincinnati lineup, giving up only 2 walks, pitching for the old Colt 45s in Colt Stadium. With 1 out in the ninth, Pete Rose bunted in front of the plate. Johnson threw wild to first, with Rose taking second. Chico Ruiz grounded out, with Charlie Hustle going to third. Then Vada Pinson grounded routinely to future Hall of Fame second baseman Nellie Fox, who made his second error of the night. Rose scored. Frank Robinson flied out to end the inning. 1 run, no hits, 2 errors, and 1 for the record books. Nuxall, 35, struck out 2 batters in the ninth to seal the 1-0 victory. It was his first win of the season, a complete Game 5 hitter. After the game, Fox tried to apologize to Johnson, according to the Houston Chronicle. But Johnson said, quote, "It's my fault. I put the runner on or we'd have been out of the inning. I knew Rose was fast and I was going to have to throw quick. And I had 3 fingers wrapped around the ball, but no time to change the grip. A halfway decent throw and I had him," end quote. Talking about the game more than 20 years later, Nuxall disagreed with Johnson, who had pitched for the 1961 Reds before being drafted by the Houston expansion team. Quote, "I will always say it was a one-hitter. Pete put down a perfect bunt. Hell, he was nearly on first base when the throw went wild. It was a 9th inning, so they gave him an error. That makes sense, I guess," end quote. Johnson grinned when he told writers, quote, "I guess that will put me in baseball history. What a way to get into the record book," end quote. Johnson probably wasn't smiling after the clubhouse attendant failed to get the ball from the final out. Nice guy Nux wouldn't surrender the souvenir. When Johnson sent a clubhouse guy to the Reds' locker room, quote, "I reached in the ball bag and looked around for one that looked like a gamer, and I said, 'Here, take this one to him,' end quote. I've got the original at home. So Nuxie keeps the ball. Ken Johnson gets the no-hitter. The Reds get the win. Coming up in the next episode of Team 64, the Reds return home to the friendly confines of Crosley for a long 10-game homestand that included games with the Giants, Phillies, Mets, and Pirates. I highly encourage you to pick up Joe Nuxall, The Old Left-Hander and Me, my conversations with Joe Nuxall about the Reds, baseball, and broadcasting by John Kieswetter. Pick it up wherever you buy your books. It's a fantastic read, and I'll be reading from the book in future episodes of Team 64. I'm Cam Miller. Thanks for listening.